Jim Sochor was hired in 1967 to be an instructor in physical education and assistant football coach. He became head football coach in 1969 and put together 20 winning seasons, including 18 consecutive conference titles, still an NCAA record.
So I decided that I would go to the University of Utah and work on a doctorate degree. Fortunately, while there, I ran into the department chair at UC Davis at a conference in Las Vegas, and he said they had a job position open as an assistant football coach, assistant baseball coach. And so I applied for it with Chuck Kovacic and Bill Lakey, and was fortunate enough to gain the position. So I came here actually in 1967 to UC Davis and started my career.
What were you hired to do?
I was hired to be, it was actually a 3-year position.
Okay.
It was going to end after 3 years. It was an entree position for a young faculty person, and you were supposed to relinquish the position after 3 years. I was going to teach in the Department of Physical Education and coach as an assistant coach on varsity football and the head baseball freshman coach with Phil Swimley. So after about a year and a half, I started looking around for other opportunities, knowing it was going to end. And well, after two and a half years, the head football coach, who was Herb Schmallenberger, decided to retire from the position and work full-time in physical education. And I was fortunate enough to be named as the head football coach in 1970, and that was my first year of coaching. We set some central values for ourselves. Everybody that we played was going to be bigger, stronger, faster, and more talented than we were. Many of the schools we played were going to have scholarships and spring practice, and we were not. And so we had a lot to overcome, which gave us the impetus and the drive and the urge to succeed. So we set our central values with 3 things. One was how close we were going to be as a football team. And so we built our program on trust, unity, and togetherness. That nobody would be closer as a football team than we would be. So that became our foundation and the strength of our program. And we bonded considerably, and we developed a chemistry together as a coaching staff and as players that we felt almost became inseparable. We painted the locker room together, and we'd innovated some stuff together, the exergenies for our fitness out on the field. So the players thought this was pretty good. And we individualized the lockers, even though the lockers were in poor condition. We put each player's name on there to show them that we cared about them. So out of these central values, this trust, unity, and togetherness, came what became known as Aggie Pride. And that started in 1970, and Aggie Pride became trust, unity, and togetherness, the closeness, the bonding, the family. I called it the unity and togetherness redundancy for effect. That togetherness was closer even than unity was. It was more like a family situation. And everything would be based on this trust. And so that worked out very well for us. So Aggie Pride became a program of family-oriented, caring, sharing, positive reinforcement. We would eliminate all the negatives. And so it was about praise, encouragement, building blocks, little steps towards confidence building. And we did our research. We studied the Dallas Cowboys for 10 years, who were America's team at that time. We gleaned all of the best things that we were doing. We knew we could empower ourselves by borrowing from their energy and success and power. And that proved to be very beneficial for us. We wanted them to be delighted with their experience that they had in athletics. And so we strictly adhered to the philosophy of the university at that time, which and still is, that you come first as a student, and that athletics is a bonus. There were no scholarships, no spring practice, but we wanted it to be the best bonus, the best experience they could possibly have. So what we told the team was, our goal is to be the best team in America within the context of our philosophy. You come first as a student. If you have a paper you have to do, you've got some studying you have to do, there's going to be flexibility and time off and be able to do that. So it all fit in hand in glove very nicely, and belief is a big part of the whole thing. They say you see what you believe, and I really believe that's true. So we talked about the fact that if you think you can or you can't, you'll be right. So we developed a tremendous belief system, and we then the next year came from behind in 5 different games to win. We went 9-1. We tied for the conference title. And then the rest of the way is pretty much history. We went on from not having won a conference title in 21 years to winning the next 18 conference titles consecutively, which is the record now nationally in the United States. No other team has ever won more conference championships consecutively as the UC Davis Aggies.
No matter what the division. Right.
All divisions, all football programs in the United States. Yeah, that's right.
Who are some of those players that you think of that really helps build the program and sustain it?
The notable ones from the football team that went into professional ranks in either coaching or playing, Ken O'Brien comes to mind first. He was the #1 draft choice, which was remarkable, a program with no scholarships, no spring practice. Played 11 years with the New York Jets. He was a quarterback. Bo Eason was a defensive back, second-round draft choice in the NFL. Played about 8 years with the Houston Oilers, finished up with the San Francisco 49ers. Rolf Benerschke was a field goal kicker, drafted by the Oakland Raiders, and then subsequently went right away. We got waived and went to the San Diego Chargers and ended up kicking with them for 10 years and became a Hall of Fame San Diego Charger. Remarkable. Raised $1 million in charity for endangered species with the San Diego Zoo for the kicks that he did with the Chargers. Scott Berry was a 6th-round draft choice with the 49ers. Jeff Allen was a 6th-round draft choice. Rich Martini was, I think, a 7th-round draft choice. Casey Merrill, a 5th-round draft choice. Mike Morosky, a 6th-round draft choice. Played 8 years with the Atlanta Falcons. And then there were fellows like, Mike Wise was another, played with the Oakland Raiders. Paul Hackett went on from his coaching here and into the NFL, became head coach at USC, as we mentioned earlier. John Herrera was a wide receiver for us. He's now with the Oakland Raiders. There's 4 of our ex-players have Super Bowl rings. And that would be Paul Hackett, Jerry Attaway, who's with the 49ers as a strength and conditioning coach, Rich Martini's Super Bowl ring with the Oakland Raiders, and so those people. Mike Bellotti went on, played in the Rose Bowl, took his University of Oregon team to the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, did an outstanding job along with Neil Sambukos and Nick Aliotti and Chris Peterson and many of those fellows that played for us in earlier years.
I know that you had opportunities to go into pro coaching, other universities. Why did you stay at Davis? What kept you here?
Well, the opportunities that I had as we started to win down the line, and I've always felt this, one of the things I always told the team was from a speech that I had heard or had read about in the university newspaper, the Aggie, and it was from a rabbi who had spoken on campus that said that people go around half laughing and half crying many times because they're one place and they want to be somewhere else. And so consequently they're only giving of themselves 50%, 40%, 60%. And consequently in return, they're getting less than that in return. He said you must be where you are, 100%, wherever you are. And so when I would talk to the team at the beginning of the year in our annual talk, I would say, you are now at UC Davis. You're not at USC. You're not at Notre Dame. You're not at Berkeley. Being here at UC Davis, this is where your greatness will come. But you must be here 100% with every fiber of your being. And so we taught them on and we programmed them very early, from the time they were incoming freshmen, that you earned everything that you got. All we wanted was the opportunity, and that you earned your way up through the ranks, and then and your best years probably as an individual player would come when you were a junior, senior, or super senior. But your greatness will come if you give everything of yourself while you're in the program. And so as we got better as a football team, and I started seeing opportunities, and I had a chance with the Oakland Raiders when John Madden was there as our offensive backfield coach. I had a chance to take the Northwestern position as an offering. A good chance for Cal and Stanford and Army Academy, Military Academy. And as I started to look around and see what was out there, I understood how wonderful this place was called UC Davis. And I always thought that UC Davis, from the early beginnings, we were like the Ivy League. We were kind of the Harvard, Dartmouth, Princeton of the West. And from here we can develop greatness. And so I truly believe that with my whole heart, because I knew how much more UC Davis had going, I thought, than from where I came in the state college system. And it turned out to be very true. And I found that by coaching here, by being where you are 100%, first of all, they'll find you. You don't have to apply anywhere else. They will come and find you. And secondly, that it's such a wonderful place. It's just a great place to be. And so I found that from here I could coach in the East-West Shrine Game like the Division I coaches, which I did 2 years in a row. I could play on national television, regional television. I could be in the American Football Coaches Association, be on the ethics committee for 3 years with all the top coaches. I mean, some of the top coaches in the United States, from Nebraska and Illinois and Texas. And so I was finding the longer I stayed that there was no real reason to leave anymore, because I could do the same kinds of things from here, and maybe even having the best opportunity. I remember telling a good friend, Vince Dooley at the University of Georgia, that we didn't have spring practice here. He said, "Oh, you don't have spring practice?" He said, "I'd give up spring practice in a minute if you could, but we can't. We have to work all year round." And he said, "That's a great job you have there." And so I started to understand that, yes, it really was a great job, and always was a great job.
Talk about Dick Lewis for a moment.
Dick Lewis was our trainer when I first arrived on campus as an assistant coach. And then when I became the head coach particularly, he and I worked closely together, long hours together, and bus trips together. And Dick is in our Hall of Fame for the university, our Athletic Hall of Fame. He's a legend. He did his training for 40 years, and he was a master at what he did. He had the kind of influence where he could just put his hand on your shoulder and you felt better. You felt a real warmth and well-being, and that really helped our football program. Plus he commanded respect and dignity in his training room. There was no swearing, no wearing your shoes in there. You had to have respect, and so it really influenced our players through our football program, through the training room, to do all the things that we wanted them to do. So Dick was a big influence and a great part of our athletic program through all those years.
You were also inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. What did that feel like?
Well, the greatest enjoyment anybody could have is seeing all that hard work and dedication and passion you had for your chosen profession, and all the wonderful people that you worked with as coaches and players. My success going into the College Football Hall of Fame in South Bend, Indiana, is due to the accumulation, the results of all of that work and all of those people, those great people, and all the coaches that I learned from when I played and coached. And it's the highest accolade you could have in college football. So that was hugely significant.